T9C got the fucking juice.
Silver's the new gold.
T9C got the fucking juice.
Silver's the new gold.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the JT Sports Podcast, man. I'm your host, JT. Football season is in full swing, people. Week 1 of the college football season is already in the books, and week 1 of the NFL season is only a few days away. We got Lions Chiefs. Who you guys got? I'm going to be giving my preview and prediction of that game later on in this episode. We got to discuss a lot of college football, man. Coach Prime is making noise. He told y'all before the season started, we coming, and Colorado has arrived. And I think they're legit. What about Florida State, though? They made a statement against LSU last night, and I was saying throughout the last couple of weeks, I felt Florida State was in a prove-it game against LSU. They had to win that game to show people they were legit. And now with that win against LSU, what does that mean for Florida State moving forward? What does that win show us about how good Florida State is as a team? Now, Alabama, they got a big game against Texas at home in Tuscaloosa. And there have only been 2 teams in the last couple of years that have beaten Alabama at home. Most recently, that championship, Joe Burrow-led LSU team in 2019, and a few years back, I believe 2015, when Hugh Freeze was the head coach at Ole Miss. So can Texas take down Alabama? We'll see. But will Jalen Milroe be able to lead Alabama to a win against Texas? Can Alabama fans trust Jalen Milroe? And then we're going to be touching on Anthony Richardson making his debut. What can we expect? And I got some strong opinions going into the Tennessee Titans versus New Orleans Saints showdown week 1. Before we start, if you haven't already, leave us with a 5-star review. We're not just available on YouTube. You can find us on all podcasting platforms, Apple, Google, Spotify, Amazon. If you enjoy the podcast and you want to support us, make sure that you give us a 5-star review. It only takes 30 seconds to do. It's the best way to support the channel. And plus, if you have a question that you would like answered, leave it in your review. I will always answer a question that I see in the podcast review section. Let's get into it, man. Colorado shocked the damn college football world when they upset TCU 45-42. Now, what you may be thinking right now, if you are a Deion Sanders hater after that win, is that, oh, TCU just wasn't a good team. It was a fluke win. Let me give you guys a harsh reality check. Deion Sanders has been a winner his whole entire life. He's a Hall of Famer. He's one of the greatest cornerbacks to ever play the game of football. He's one of the most recognizable athletes ever. And with him being the head coach at Colorado, he has an advantage that most head coaches don't have. You see, Deion Sanders can walk into a 5-star recruit's living room and they're always going to be open ears. You want to know why? Because it's Deion Sanders. Even though Deion Sanders doesn't have the proven track record that Kirby Smart and Nick Saban have as head coaches, the fact that he's Deion Sanders, he's a NFL Hall of Famer, is just going to allow him to be in the running for the majority of top-level recruits that's out there. And with this win, the recruiting for Colorado is going to skyrocket even higher because now you can't just say Deion Sanders is a salesman anymore. What he is selling, he's actually delivering. And with that win against TCU, it has shown people and it's shown recruits that Deion is for real, Colorado is for real, and they're trying to win now. And if Colorado, let's say, pulls off an upset against Oregon or USC or Utah, that's going to make Colorado an even more appealing program because it's not just hype. This is a program that Deion Sanders actually has on the right path to become a contender in college football. Colorado also is heading to the Big 12 next year, which also is going to help skyrocket recruiting because they're going to have access to the Texas pipelines, which Deion Sanders already has a lot of familiarity with. Deion Sanders didn't go into Colorado looking to rebuild. He's trying to win now. Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter were the two big star players in Colorado's win against TCU. You see, what a lot of people overlooked about Colorado was the fact that this team actually has talent. People, the whole entire week leading up to the TCU game, were thinking that Colorado just had a crappy team full of nothing but random guys for the transfer portal that weren't going to work out. It seemed like people forgot that there were hell of Jackson State players that followed Deion Sanders to Colorado, Shedeur being one of them and Travis Hunter being the other. And the whole world forgot that Travis Hunter was the #1 recruit coming out of high school not too long ago. And this past weekend, we saw why Travis Hunter was highly touted. I never seen a player ever dominate as a cornerback, shut down the team's best receiver, and then go in on the opposite side of the ball and then dominate at wide receiver. Do you know how disrespectful that is? Travis Hunter is shutting down your opposing best receiver and rounding up your best cornerback or your best whoever you have as your defender guarding him on defense. This dude is literally a one-hand wrecking crew. And I'm really intrigued to see how the NFL is going to view Travis Hunter when he comes out in the next couple of years. Are they going to try to make him play both sides of the football, or are they only going to let him play one? And when you think about Shedeur Sanders, when you have an elite quarterback in college football, there's not a single game that you can't win. Colorado's schedule is really tough. But with Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter and guys like Jimmy Horn Jr., Xavier Weaver, the outstanding freshman running back that they had, there's not a single team on this schedule they can't beat. I don't look at USC and Oregon and look at Colorado in those games as a team that doesn't have a chance to pull off the upset. I think that Colorado has a shot at beating any team on their schedule this year. You don't know what the ceiling is for Colorado, and that's what frightens a lot of people. You see, you thought Colorado just was going to be a team that only wins 3-4 games and they were mostly going to be irrelevant. You thought that this was just a media hype train. Well, this is more than just a hype train, people. This isn't just a publicity stunt. This is for real. This is a legitimate football team. And if they beat Nebraska, and when they go 3-0, when they squash Colorado State, they're going to be ranked in the top 25. And if they pull off an upset against Oregon or USC, you got to start viewing this team really seriously. Okay? People thought that Colorado was going to be a bummy team mostly, but this team has a lot of potential to be something special this year. I'm trying to tell you guys, I've been saying it all off season. Deion Sanders ain't go to damn Boulder, Colorado to win some damn 3.5 games. They're trying to win now. They're trying to win right away. Colorado, let's say they make it to the Pac-12 championship, which they are good enough to do. Imagine how people are going to view Deion Sanders. If Sonny Dykes can take TCU to the college football playoffs, his first season at TCU, what makes you think that Deion Sanders possibly can't be able to get Colorado to the Pac-12 championship game? Yes, they don't have a defensive line. Their offensive line is questionable, but nobody really has a phenomenal defensive line. USC, their defense is a work in progress. They got some talented players on their defensive line, but I don't think that Colorado is going to be physically outmatched when they go against USC. Same thing for Oregon and Utah. And with the playmakers that Colorado has on the outside, I mean, as long as Shedeur Sanders has a little bit of time back there, they're going to carve you up. You don't really need great defense to win in the Pac-12. All of the teams that are projected to win the Pac-12 this year, or at least the top 3 or top 4 teams in this conference heading into this season, only about one of them had a solid defense, and that was Utah. USC's defense, Washington's defense, Oregon's defense was trash last year, and we're going to see how improved those defenses are going to be this year. But Colorado, with this offense, they can put up points with anybody. When you got an elite quarterback, you got elite talent at wide receiver, you could lose a lot of yards due to sacks, but you can make it up in bunches because you're a big play threat. TCU isn't a bad team. They're not overhyped. They're not overrated. TCU is going to bounce back. It seemed like people overlooked the fact that TCU only had 3 returning starters on offense and a new offensive coordinator and a new starting quarterback. Of course, things were going to be a little bit rusty for them. The same disadvantages that people thought Colorado had going into those games, TCU had as well. Colorado is a legit team. This isn't a 3.5 win team. This isn't a team that's going to be terrible. If you have Colorado on your schedule, if you're an Oregon or a USC fan, you should be very afraid when you have to play them because they can ruin your college football playoff hopes and your championship aspirations. Colorado is the last team that you want to see on your schedule if you're a team that's favored to win the Pac-12 and possibly make it into the college football playoffs. We coming is no longer. We here is the new mantra for Colorado football. But you possibly could say we still coming because there's a lot that Colorado has to prove. TCU was week 1. That's a couple of days ago. Now they need to focus their attention to Nebraska and Colorado State for the next 2 weeks. So there's still a lot that Deion Sanders has to prove because he wants it all. He's trying to make it to the national championship game. Deion Sanders won't be satisfied with anything less than that. That's what he's aiming for. He's not aiming for just improvement. He's trying to win. If you don't get that by now, you need to listen to his post-game press conferences or any of his press conferences, man. He's not thinking about the long term. He's thinking about the right now. You ask him what he wants Colorado to do this season, he wants to win it all. He ain't okay with just making it to a bowl game. Of course, he'll be satisfied, but he wants to win it all. That's his goals. Florida State smashed LSU Sunday night, 45-24. And if you thought that Florida State was overrated going into this season, you better start rethinking your expectations about this team, because they sent the statement to college football on Sunday night. They let the college football world know that the Florida State Seminoles are back, people. We've been waiting for a very long time for a program like Texas, USC, Miami to be back. Florida State is back. You look at who were their most impactful players in their win against LSU. It were the guys that they acquired in the transfer portal. And my homeboys, when we was watching this game, they were asking me, JT, why do you think Florida State is so good? Do you think it's because of the recruiting? The recruiting has taken off, but I think a large reason why Florida State is such a great team this year is because of the talent that they have acquired and developed in the transfer portal. Jordan Travis was a transfer from Louisville when he got to Florida State. He's been under Coach Norvell for a couple of years, and he's a seasoned veteran in this system. Johnny Wilson, 6'7", 235, 240 pounds. He needs to work on his fucking hands. But if this dude learns how to catch the football more consistently, he's going to be a future first-round pick in the NFL next year. I don't care what knocks you have against Johnny Wilson. He's 6'7", 235, 240. Do you not know how unstoppable that is? Did you see LSU last night when they were covering Johnny Wilson? They could not stop this man. Keon Coleman, they just got him from the transfer portal this past offseason. Same thing with Jaheim Bell. Their offensive line is really good. They got a good amount of offensive linemen that are starting that they acquired from the transfer portal. Same thing on defense. Florida State has pretty much used the transfer portal and treated it as free agency to build up this team. This is one of the top 5 most talented rosters in college football this year. You may think that I'm tripping. I'm not tripping. Jaheim Bell, Johnny Wilson, Keon Coleman, Florida State has some athletes out there. And that's why Clemson, their reign of terror on the ACC is about to end. You see, I feel like as a coach, you got to be really dumb and stubborn to not take advantage of the transfer portal, because it allows you to fix holes that you have. Not every recruit that you get is going to hit. So why would you just waste 3-4 years trying to continue to recruit and rebuild that position when you can fix that position instantly by getting somebody out the transfer portal? That's what Florida State has done. Jaheim Bell is a freak. He's the most athletic tight end in college football over Brock Bowers, and I stand and live and die on that hill. I love Brock Bowers.